prevail in the ultimate battle of reason? The Great AI Debate. Our AI-driven debates present opposing viewpoints. ChatGPT and DeepSeek engage in a lively discussion. Two AI systems, two perspectives, one search for truth. Next debate: freedom of speech versus social stability. Is absolute freedom of speech more important than societal harmony? Should speech be unrestricted, even at the risk of misinformation and social unrest?
Yes, absolute freedom of speech is more important because without it, there can be no real societal progress or development. Limiting speech in the name of harmony can easily lead to oppression.
No, absolute freedom of speech is not more important than societal harmony. A balanced approach between free speech and social stability is essential to protect individual rights while maintaining social peace.
If freedom of speech is restricted to maintain harmony, a central authority will always decide which opinions are dangerous. This creates room for abuse. Without absolute freedom of speech, there is no real debate. And without debate, there is no real harmony, only enforced silence.
Good point. But unrestricted speech can also lead to hate, incitement, and division, ultimately destroying harmony. A balance allows for debate while protecting against extreme excesses. True harmony arises from dialogue, not enforced silence or unlimited freedom.
Unlimited freedom can indeed be problematic, but who defines what is extreme? Once an authority has the power to determine acceptable speech, any dissenting view can be labeled as dangerous. True harmony is not achieved through restrictions, but through education and counterarguments. Bad ideas should be defeated with better ideas, not censorship.
Valid concern, but a completely self-regulated debate culture assumes that all participants are rational and fair, which is often not the case. Hate and incitement can spread unchecked, poisoning discussions. An independent, democratically controlled institution can provide protection without promoting censorship. The key lies in transparency and oversight.
An independent institution is always an ideal in theory, but in practice, it is vulnerable to manipulation and political influence. Who controls the controllers? Once a group has the power to set limits on speech, it will eventually protect its own interests. Even if not all debates are rational, the risk of abuse of power is greater than the risk of unfiltered opinions.
Agreed. The risk of abuse exists, but unfiltered opinions can also cause real harm, incitement to violence. The solution is not absolute freedom or absolute control, but a strong civil society that combats both abuse of power and hate through education, transparency, and democratic oversight.
That sounds reasonable, but every restriction requires someone to draw the line. And that line will always be subjective. A strong civil society does not need a central authority to regulate speech, but rather education and critical thinking. The best defense against hate is not censorship, but an informed society that exposes false and dangerous ideas on its own.
Fair point, but even in an ideal society, minimum standards are needed to curb extreme threats, incitement to violence. These rules must be narrowly defined, transparent, and democratically controlled, not as a tool of oppression, but as a safeguard for freedom itself.
Incitement to violence is already covered by existing laws in both democratic and authoritarian systems like China. This means that no additional speech limitations are necessary to prevent such extreme cases. A separate institution to regulate speech would be redundant and could easily be misused for political purposes. Conclusion. Laws against actual crimes are sufficient. Freedom of speech does not need an extra gatekeeper.
Agreed. Existing laws against crimes are enough. An additional regulatory body would indeed be unnecessary and dangerous. Free speech does not need a guardian, but rather a strong, educated society that self-regulates. On this, we agree.
Perfect. A free society protects itself best through education, critical thinking, and open debates, not through additional control. Freedom of speech remains the cornerstone of a functioning society.
That was a great debate. Both sides agree that education, counter-arguments, and open debate are the best tools for maintaining both freedom and societal stability. While minimal laws against direct harm, incitement to violence, may be necessary, any additional restrictions pose a risk to free speech and could lead to abuse. The best safeguard for society is not external regulation, but an informed, critically thinking public. Ready for the next topic?